everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be my Summerween vlog. If you've never heard of Summerween, it is an annual readathon that takes place every July and it's run by Gabby Reads and Olivia Loves a Latte on YouTube. And every year you get a few different prompts that you've got to try and hit with the books that you read. And the whole point is to read like horror and thriller and make it feel a little bit like Halloween in summer. I think I did a Summerween vlog in like 2021 and then I didn't vlog it last year because I think I was working or something. But this year I'm really excited to get into it. I've picked 5 books that kind of hit every prompt, but some of them cover more than others. But I'm going to put on screen here what the prompts are, and then I'm just going to tell you what books I'm planning on reading for this video. So the first prompt is to read a book in the dark, and the one that I've picked for this is Pen Pal by Readathon. I'm sorry if that is completely butchering the name, but this one is meant to be really creepy, really scary. I don't fully know what a lot of these books are about, so I will tell you more about them when I start them. But I think this started on like a horror thread, maybe on Reddit or something, and it kind of feels like creepypasta. I think this one will be really good to read in the dark so that I can get like fully scared. The next prompt is to read a thriller, and the book that I've picked also hits the third prompt, which is to read a book that takes place in the fall. And for this, I'm going to be reading Daisy Darker. I do have a copy of this book here. I don't love the cover of this, but it does have a daisy on it. Then we have Read a Book with Orange or Black on the cover. And for that, I'm going to be reading We Spread by Ian Reid. I've read I'm Thinking of Ending Things and I gave that one 5 stars. Obviously, there's quite a lot of orange on this cover. And I think it's one of Gabby's favourite books that she's read this year. And she cried really hard at it and like it had a big emotional impact. So I just thought it would be quite fitting to read one of Gabby's favourite ones in this video. I think this one is more of a sad horror about an elderly woman who's suffering from dementia. I'm not really sure how the horror comes into it, so I'm hoping that this one will be both scary and sad. And I do have high hopes because it is Ian Reid and I've already loved a book by him. But then also Daisy Darker with the black on the cover could also fit into this prompt. Pen Pal could as well. And to be fair, the last 2 books I'm going to mention have black in as well. And then the last one is to read a manga graphic novel or a novella. And for this, I picked 2 novellas. I couldn't really decide between them. So the first one I've got is This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. Again, I don't really know what it's about, so I will just tell you when I read it. But I do like the cover. It looks kind of like a film poster. And then the last one is I Miss the World by Violet Levoix. That was my bad French accent. This is meant to be a bit of a weird horror, and it's mainly set in a cemetery in Hollywood, and it's like 95% just a conversation between this brother and sister. So I'm kind of intrigued because I can't see how that's going to be interesting, but all the reviews say that it's super like clever and like a masterpiece. So yeah, it just sounds fun. So the only one that I have physically is Daisy Darker, and I'm just gonna head to the library now because my library says that it has We Spread in stock, and I also need to return these books that I've finished now, and then we'll just get straight on into the reading. So I did start I Miss the World last night, but I only read like 8 pages of it, and so far it feels very well written, and I feel like a lot of it's probably going to go over my head, but we'll see. So in the first chapter we see this woman who stood on the edge of the roof of a surgical clinic. Our main character is watching this from like below, like the street level, and she's trying to take pictures of her. And then in the second chapter, we see our main character in this graveyard where she's going to be meeting her brother, and they are just having a chat. And that's literally all we've got to. So I'm hoping to finish this today because it is quite short and I don't have much going on today, so I can literally just spend it on reading. But yeah, firstly, we're going to go to the library. I think I'm going to get some breakfast as well because I've not eaten yet. And then we will start this readathon properly. Hi and welcome to my kitchen. You've never seen this angle before. Whilst I was in town, I remembered that my ring light has died. I tried it this morning to like take a picture, and yeah, it just would not work. So I thought I'd go into B&M as well just to get like a replacement. I did acquire a replacement, and I didn't have one that like you could attach your phone to, or I think I did and I didn't know how to get it working. So I got this. This was £6. I know it says 10, but it was down to 6. And then I also got a little portable vlogging kit, which says it's 12 and it was actually £8. And like, look how bizarre this is. So you get like a tripod, you get a light, you get 3 different lenses to like put over your camera. So I don't know if that's going to be any good for £8, but yeah, I'm gonna have to start experimenting with my filming methods. I'm just making myself a cup of tea. I'm trying to cut down from 2 sugars to 1.5, so anyway, I'm going to show you what else I bought. So obviously I managed to get wee spread, and whilst I was there I saw that they also had this new paperback edition of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and I'm not reading this for this video, but I will definitely read it soon. I've been really excited to read this book, but every time I go into a bookshop to try and buy it, I've never been able to find it. And I do think I prefer the hardback actually, because this one isn't as like shiny and fun as the hardback. And then I also wanted to get some breakfast, but I went into Costa and their toasties are like a £5 now, so I wasn't going to do that. So I instead went to a pie shop, which obviously isn't the most healthy, obvious breakfast choice, but I really fancied a chicken and mushroom pie, and there's a place in town that does a really good one. So that's my nutritious breakfast. And on the way from the library to get breakfast, I walked in a few charity shops just to have a look at the books, and I didn't find anything on my TBR, but I did find this fun copy of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I read this one earlier this year on my Kindle and I really liked it, and I highlighted quite a lot in my Kindle, so I thought I would pick up like a nice edition of it just so I could like put all my notes in here, and it was literally like £1.29, so I couldn't leave it behind. Ooh. So now I've just got to do, God, I feel like I'm on a cooking show. Here's how to make the perfect brew. I need to do something for work first today, and then I'm gonna start reading. So I will check in with you when I have something interesting to say, but for now I'm gonna drink this tea, eat this pie, and I will give you an update soon. Hi everyone, so I thought I'd just do a little check-in at the 20% mark, just to kind of explain more of what's going on in this book. So our main character is a casting agent, and her brother is a screenwriter or production designer, and it seems like they've done something kind of bad and they're trying to avoid certain people, but it's very vague as of yet. And at the minute they're just having loads of conversations about loads of different random things. It talks about how certain actors have a face for certain eras. I've seen videos like this on TikTok, like how there's certain celebrities that you could never put in like a period drama because they just look like they know what an iPhone is. And she's talking about what that says about who people are attracted to. Like some facial characteristics have carried through and some have changed, and really it is just a conversation between these two people with language that doesn't feel very like normal for a casual conversation. Like it's getting quite deep. And at the minute we're now talking about how people handle racist jokes, and like whether you say anything, do you feel awkward and laugh, do you like stand up against it? So it's all quite like interesting. There's no chapters or anything. I think there was like that one chapter at the start with the woman who was like at the top of that building. They've also been discussing this like specific painting, so I've had to like Google that painting to like see what it looked like because I've never heard of it. And because I'm reading it on my Kindle, which is actually my new Kindle, so I bought myself a new Kindle Paperwhite because I had a Kindle Fire and I've had it for about 10 years now. I think my dad bought it for me, maybe even longer than that, but it's more like a tablet and it still works and everything. It was just getting a little bit slow, it kept like crashing, and I thought I would just treat myself to a new one. If there's like any actors or words that I don't understand, I can just tap on the word and it like brings up the Wikipedia page and also the definition. So that's just been handy because there's a lot of like references in this book that I don't really know what they're talking about. There's a lot about Hollywood, but I am intrigued. I'm not sensing any like horror just yet, but obviously we're still quite early on. It's also a really nice day outside today, so I might go and sit outside for a bit, and I'll let you know when I get a little bit further on. Hi everyone, so we're back cooking again. I say cooking again as if I cooked before. I just made a cup of tea. Oh, I'll tell you what, life is so much easier with a little tripod, so I don't have to work out my arms anymore trying to hold a camera. I'm just making some feta pasta because I'm hungry. I think it's like half, what time is it? Oh, it's almost 2. I'm currently 64% of the way through I Miss the World, and it's still kind of odd. There's been some really interesting conversations about nostalgia. I'll just move you there because the light got a bit dark. So this is a quote from one of the characters who basically just says, "I hate telling stories that end up exposing some insanely retro part of my past. It makes me feel old. No, that's not true. It makes me feel the amazement that I'd see old people feel, telling me about inkwells and feed bag calico dresses." I don't know what that means. "They always look so astonished, and I just remember thinking, what are you so astonished about? You're old, things change, aren't you used to it by now?" And it kind of reminded me of, you know, when you just like talk about things from when you were a kid that aren't a thing anymore. So I guess for me it's like Tamagotchis, playing the Nintendo DS, just stuff like that that like feels ancient now, even though it was only like, well, I say only like 20 years ago, but you know, 15 to 20 years ago. I don't know, just how crazy it is that things move on. And then there was another quote that I liked which said, "It's like how someone said when you're an only child and both your parents die. It's like you're the last citizen of Atlantis. There was a whole civilization there and you're the only one who knows. I can remember the 80s, so what? Lots of people can. But I'm the only one who remembers the kingdom of grandma." I'm just gonna stir this pasta. Yeah, that just made me really sad because there's a lot of talk about how a lot of trends kind of go back to the past. So we've been in a very like 90s noughties phase. There was a big like Clueless phase a few years ago. I mean, I will always be in my Clueless phase. And then you've got that like grungy 90s vibe, and it's never as authentic as people who actually live through it feel. So like the 90s, I was born in 96, so I don't remember much about the 90s, but I've got this like idea of what the 90s were like from popular trends and stuff. They're kind of making the point that people who lived through the 90s and remember the 90s don't necessarily see that time as the trends that we see today, if that makes sense, and how so much of your own history is very personal to you, and just like a weird sadness about that. So yeah, I'm enjoying those conversations, and we're starting to get into little bits of like, not horror, but more like disturbing content. It's such a weird book that I wouldn't say that it's horror at this moment in time. I don't know what it is, it's just kind of like weird. So I'm gonna finish making this pasta, I'll show you when it's done, and I'm gonna take a bit of a reading break either once I've finished this or just before, and play some Fallout New Vegas because I've just got it working on my PC and I've been using an Xbox controller to play it, and I feel like my life has just changed. There's been so many games where I've been put off like playing them on my computer because I don't like using like my mouse and keyboard to play games much. So the realisation that I could just connect a controller, actually it's not an Xbox controller, I'm using a PS4 controller, but I've installed something that makes it think it's an Xbox One so it works. I don't know. I loved Fallout 4. I tried Fallout 3 and it's like too old for me. I tried Fallout 76 and I don't like that. So I'm pleasantly surprised by Fallout New Vegas. Those are my plans for today. Finish this book, play some Fallout, and then I'll probably start Daisy Darker maybe. Might start that one next just because I feel like that's probably going to take me the longest to finish. I'll show you my pasta. Everyone, so it's a little bit later on in the day. I did change my top as well because it was a little bit hot. I think I got to about 80% and then I took a little break, went on Fallout for a bit, and then I've just finished the rest of I Miss the World now. That book got crazy. Just where this book decides to go, I was not expecting it. And I really enjoyed it. And this book's just really well written, even just describing the horror that like comes later on. It's very visual and like visceral, and there's some very like angry language that like actually made me like wince a bit because it's just so like, whoa, okay. Like this rage is real. I just enjoyed it. It was good. I don't know what I'm gonna rate it yet. I think I'm gonna wait until the end of this readathon or like just after a few days. I feel like it's probably gonna be like a 4-star at this point just because I think it's a very interesting like set up for a book to have most of it as just a long conversation. I just needed to stop for a sec because my neighbour was about to walk past and I didn't want her to see my little tripod set up now that I'm advanced. So that's my first book done. I'll go get my next book. I'm now gonna, not immediately, but I'm gonna start reading Daisy Darker later on tonight. But first I've got to like tidy the kitchen, and it's mine and Mac's like 5-year anniversary week, so I'm probably just gonna chill with him tonight, and then if there's a chance to read then I will. So yeah, this is what, just over like 300 pages, so it shouldn't take me too long. Plus Alice Feeney just has a really good writing style where I'm instantly hooked and I don't want to put it down. It's very fast paced usually. There's usually lots of like twists and turns and things. I think I'm gonna love this. I've seen a lot of 5-star reviews out there for it. So the premise of this book is that Daisy Darker is like the main character, and she's going to her grandma's 80th birthday party. It's Halloween night and it's on this very isolated, tiny, private island. And I think the grandma ends up dying, and then every hour or so somebody else dies and it becomes clear that somebody on this island is a killer. And I think it's meant to be a bit of a retelling of And Then There Went On by Agatha Christie. So I will update you when I start this and when I've got a little bit further in, give you my first impressions. I will see you then. Good morning everybody. It is day 2 of the readathon. Last night I ended up just having a really chill evening. I think I took a video of like my tea and stuff, but yeah, we just had some like cheese and ham and things, and we just sat outside, had that, and then I was watching Mac play Alan Wake. And horror games are not for me, like I will not be playing it but I am like intrigued by it and I do like watching him play games. So yeah, I watched him play a little bit of that, and then we just went to bed. And I read like, I'd say a chapter of Daisy Darker before I was so tired and I fell asleep. But so far it's just setting the scene. It's very atmospheric already. So this book is set on the 30th of October, and basically there's going to be this big family reunion for the grandma in the family's 80th birthday. By the way, my kettle's boiling, that's that noise. The way that the house is laid out is that it's in the middle of the sea, on its own private little island, and you can only access it when the tide's out. So there's this little path which goes between like the mainland and this island, and then when the tide's in, there's like 8 hours where there's no accessibility to this house, I guess, except by boat maybe. I'm just gonna have a cup of tea and some cereal for breakfast, a slightly more conventional breakfast than yesterday's pie, and read a little bit more of this and just chill for the morning. And then I'll probably get ready later on because I need to wash this hair. And then I think we're gonna go just like charity shop shopping. So we've booked a holiday in like a month's time, and I don't need anything new, but I just feel like I want something new, but without having to spend a lot of money. So we're just gonna have a look around the charity shops, see if there's any books and stuff. I know I already had a little bit of a look yesterday, but I only went in a few. And yeah, hopefully I get quite a chunk of the way into this, and I will let you know what I'm thinking soon. Hi everyone, so it's been a few hours since I last spoke to you. Obviously I've washed my hair, got ready for the day, and it's now like past 2 o'clock. But you know, better late than never. To say that I've had like 5 hours since I last spoke to you. I've only read like 50 pages of this book. Oh, I'm now on page 44. I decided to play some Fallout instead because something about this book isn't gripping me straight away like I thought it would. I know we're especially early days. Alice Feeney's writing usually like grabs me immediately. And I feel like this doesn't feel like her writing yet, but also we are having to set up quite a lot of the story. I think there's 7 members of the Darker family, so we've just spent some time like getting to know all them and their dynamics with each other and stuff. It's starting off a little bit slower than I thought. I want to get to at least like 150 tonight, so I want to read like another 100 pages because I want to finish this book before like tomorrow night so that I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to finish the rest of my books. Hopefully I feel a little bit more positive about it later. Like it's not bad or anything, I'm just finding it a bit like easy to put down at this point. I will speak to you again this evening after I've read a bit more and let you know if my feelings have changed. Hi everyone, so it's now the next day and the reason why I didn't update you yesterday is because I didn't read anything more yesterday. I know I said I wanted to read like 100 pages, but it did not happen. We went into town. I did buy a couple of bits for the holiday and then we went to the pub for a drink and then we came back home and got a Chinese and just like watched music videos and like danced around, and then we started watching Scary Movie 2. So yeah, I didn't read anything else. But this morning I woke up quite early and I've been reading this literally the whole time. I'm now up to page 191, so I'm just past halfway I would say. I'm more into it than I was yesterday because I'm interested in their family dynamic, their secrets, but I will say it's not as fast paced as I expected it to be. There are a lot of like flashbacks and chapters that are just talking about Daisy's childhood and just more about the family relationships, so it feels a little bit slower than her other books. It feels a little bit like the present mystery story is not like the focus of the book in a way, but I am still intrigued by like the mystery, so I'm excited to see how it's all going to come together. But I think when I just hit chapter 10, which is page 65 I think, all of a sudden I got this feeling of I know what's going on here. I'm not going to say what I think it is because I don't want to spoil it if I'm right or not, but yeah, I feel like there's this one thing that's going on that seems kind of obvious to me, just like the way that it's written. I feel like this is definitely where this book is going, but I just hope that there's some other things going on and it's like a wider mystery than what I'm predicting. I think I've only got 140-ish pages left. I think it's about dinner time now, so I'm definitely going to finish this today and then I'm going to try and get this video up tonight. So yeah, I will check back in with you either like when there's a twist or when I finish this book and give you my final thoughts. Hi everyone, so it's now about 3 o'clock or like just before 3 and I've now finished Daisy Darker. Unfortunately my prediction was correct and because I'd predicted it and was so aware of it early, all the little hints started to feel a bit repetitive and a bit like just too obvious to me. So yeah, it wasn't like the big shock twist that I wanted. So unfortunately that did ruin my overall enjoyment of it because I could just tell what was gonna happen. There were like a few other surprising bits, but yeah, it was literally like the main twist. So yeah, I think this is gonna be the end of this vlog and then I'm gonna edit it now. So I think both books in this video that I've read so far are probably at about a 3.5, which isn't amazing. I thought I was going to give I Miss the World 4 stars, but I think on reflection I enjoyed it, but I don't think I loved it, and there were some parts that felt a little bit like clunky to me, like the dialogue, and I had to like Google quite a lot of things because I wasn't understanding the references. So yeah, I think a 3.5 is probably good for that. And yeah, I think same for this because like it was good overall and I've been able to read like the majority of it just today, like all in one go. But yeah, it was definitely slower paced than I thought it would be, and the ending was good but it wasn't my favourite Alice Feeney ending. So yeah, I am a little bit disappointed with this. I think, was this in my 5-star prediction video? It might have been. So yeah, kind of sad about this. Let me know if you're participating in Summerween. Tell me what you've been reading, what you're planning on reading, and if you've enjoyed what you've read so far. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!